The next sample is the hook and eye sample. You will cut two pieces of the garment fabric and two of the interfacing. And then we will mark. So you have three marks over here that you need to tailor tack. And also I will use the tracing paper and the tracing wheel to transfer these marks. So to create a table tag, we've done this before, but for a refresher, it's a double threaded needle, so the thread is double layered, no knots, and you have three actually circles. So in the center of that circle, you will stitch, go to the other side, leave a couple of yarns and come back, and that's one tail of tack, and you will leave a tail of about an inch and a half to 2 inches. Okay, and you will do that 3 times. So in the center of the circle, you will go to the other side, leave a couple of yarns and come back in the center of that circle and leave a tail of about an inch and a half to 2 inches, and also this corner over here, and again repeat the process. Center of the circle, leave a couple of yarns and come out into the tail. Okay. So now that I transferred the information, these tailor tags over here are going to help me fold my piece of fabric on that line that's indicated by the tailor tags. Okay, I already traced my lines using the tracing paper and the tracing wheel. An alternative to that, you can notch at the beginning, notch at the end, and you will use the tailor tags to indicate uh, the fold line. Okay, so now I can remove my paper, and as you can see, the tailor tags are in place. I will separate my fabric gently. You don't tear your fabric, and then I will cut in the middle. All right. Separate and cut, and I will separate and cut over. Alright, and so I have the fourth line indicated by both the tailor tag and the uh, dotted line from the tracing paper and the tracing wheel. We cut two of the interfacing, and the side where the tracing marks are is the wrong side of the fabric. So I'll use the grainy side of the interfacing, and I will put it on top of the wrong side of the fabric. So grainy side to wrong side on both pieces. And then I'll go to the ironing board and press both in place. All right. So now I am at the ironing board, and I am going to remove the tailor tags out of my way. So basically the tailor tags will be at the edge of the interfacing, and I am going to press my interfacing in place to adhere it to the back of the fabric or the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, so I'll do that in both sides. I touched this one while I'm working by mistake, but anyway, so I took it out and I'm going to press it in place. Be careful with the interfacing. Some interfacing types can shrink if you steam it. I had that before happening. So you can try dry heat first. If it doesn't adhere well, you can use a little bit of steam, just not too much, because this type actually shrunk when I pressed it before. Now that I have the interfacing piece in place, I will use my mark. So the three dots that I tailor tagged, and I will use that to fold back my seam, and I'll press again. So the tailor tag is a way for me to transfer the information from the wrong side of the fabric to the right side of the fabric without using the tracing paper and the tracing wheel. We can't use the tracing paper and the tracing wheel on the right side, so to transfer the information from the wrong side to the right side, the tailor tag is helping me with that. So I am folding on where the tailor tag is, and I am finger pressing first, and then I am pressing my seam backwards. Okay, and now I have the two pieces ready for the next step to attach the two pieces together. I am here at the sewing machine where I will start by stitching few stitches and then back stitch, and I will stop where the first tailor tag is and back stitch again. Again, I am removing my pin taking stitches up to where the tailor tack is, and then back stitch to attach the two pieces together. And then I will trim my thread. And press my seam open again. So I'll press my seam open, and I'll flip it to the right side and press it open again. Make sure that there are no pleats, or and if there is any, I'll move them out. Okay. Now my sample is ready for the hand stitching of the hook and eye. So the hook and eye placement will be where the other two tailor tacks are. So one will be right here and the other one will be where the second tailor tack is. This tailor tack over here was to indicate where my stitching will end. So I'll show you in the next step how to attach the hook and eye. So the hook and eye in this application is installed to keep the two edges basically touching each other. The folded edges, or kissing is another term that we use, which means that they are not overlapping, they are just touching each other. The hook goes on the left side and the eye goes on the right side. So you will install two hooks on the left side of the garment, on the back of the left side of the garment, and two eyes on the back of the right side of the garment. I don't know if you can see it, but here is up close. This is how the hook looks like, and here are the eyes. They come in different sizes. And there is also a type of eye that we create by hand stitching. So you can have the hook on the back of the left side, and at the edge you have a hand sewn eye. I'll show you this way of attaching the hook. So again, we said that the hook is on the left side. So this is the left side. I'll flip it over. It's gonna be the right side on the wrong side of the fabric, okay? So on the wrong side of the garment, the hooks go on the right side. And the eyes go on the left side, and as if we are looking on the wrong side of the garment, okay? Again, they are supposed to be basically meeting at the center line. So the loop of the hook shouldn't be going any further than the edge of the right side from the wrong side of the garment, okay? And the eye also kind of ends at the fold. Okay, so this is how we're going to put them in place. What's involved is only the wrong side of the folded side of the garment. So the right side of the garment is not involved at all in my stitching, only the wrong side of the garment. So I will attach the hook. I will center the hook on where I did mark with my tailor tack, and the looped part or the bent part of the hook is aligned with the fold. Okay, and I will take my first stitch to anchor the hook in place. Loop your thread around your needle and take the first stitch it is a double stitch needle. Now if you wanna take off the knot, you can, because you anchored your needle in place and thread. Okay, again, as you can see, I am pushing now the folded part or the turned part of the hook where I am aligning it with the fold, and I'll stitch this side. I already took one stitch, so I'll take about 4 more, so 2, 3, and 4. Make sure that you don't create any knots so that it's easy for you. So I anchored one side. Now I am going to pass my needle and I'll stitch coming out of the other side. Okay, and I will anchor the other side in place. Again, keeping the center of my hook at where my tailor tack is. Okay, and then I'll do another 5 stitches to keep this side in place. 2, 3, 4. If your thread knots just like mine, just pass your needle in the loop and pull the thread. Okay. And it usually takes the knot away. And gently pull your thread. And 1, and then the last one. And loop your thread around the needle. The last part that I need to fix in place is the folded part. So I'll go down and then I'll come out my crease. Okay. And then I'll start looping my thread around that bent part of the hook. And then I'll take a few stitches, also 3 or 4 stitches, to fix the bent part of the hook in place. Again, we're not involving the outside of the garment in our stitching at all. Okay, once I'm done, I'll take my needle in between the 2 layers and I will anchor my stitch in place. And if you want to do another anchoring stitch, you can. Okay, and I will trim my thread and it will stay in between the 2 layers. Okay, so if we are looking from the right side of the garment, you don't see any stitching, and if you're looking from the wrong side of the garment, you will see that the hook is stitched in place. The next step is I am going to basically hook my hook to the eye, and that will give me the placement of where I need to put the eye. Okay, you can use a pencil or heat erasable marker to mark where that is, and I will make a mark to where I need to stitch the eye. Okay, so I have my marks over here, and this will be the beginning of my stitching of the eye in place. I will knot my thread. Again, it's a double thread. Make tail, and then I'll come from the interfacing side in one of my marks. Okay, I will anchor my thread, loop your thread around the needle and pull. Now I know that it's holding onto the garment. I don't need this tailor tack anymore. Alright, and then I can unhook the eye, and I will start stitching it in place. Again, I'm stitching it to the back side of the seam, and the right side is not involved in my stitching. So I will do about 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I will pass my needle in between the 2 layers, come out my other mark. Okay, and I will start stitching the other side. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'll pass my needle to the back and anchor my thread again in place. So here is my thread, and another one just to make sure that it's not going anywhere, and I can trim my thread. So this is the interfacing side, and that's where the back of my thread will be. I can now hook them to each other. This is the wrong side of the garment, and this is the right side of the garment. Okay, and as you can see, it is kind of keeping my edges almost touching each other. If I'm not happy with it, I can fix at least one side of them where I can pull them a little bit closer. And you will do the same thing on the second one. So in this case, you will have 2 hooks and eyes that are installed the same way. Again, this is the wrong side of the garment. And this is it for the hook and eye, the shirt process. Again, this is the back side of the garment, and this is the right side of the garment where the edges are barely touching. And I did one, and in this case you will do 2 the same way. So you can rewind and reattach. And also, again, if the right side of the garment is not involved, the hook and eye are attached between the wrong side or the wrong side of the garment and the inside of the garment, and the right side of the garment is not involved at all. And again, if I flip it to the right side of the garment, the edges are almost touching each other, and there is no stitching whatsoever that is showing on the right side of the garment. So next you will attach the second pair of hook and eye. And that's it for the hook and eye shirt sample.